children, welcome back once again. Today we are going to start our new chapter, Structure of Atom. Children, as you know, there are certain topics from the beginning of this chapter have been removed by CBSE. Okay, those topics are actually the discovery of electrons, protons, and J.J. Thomson's experiments, and some models of atoms which you have already studied in your 9th standard, that is Thomson's model of atom, and then Rutherford's model of atom, let us have a quick look into the two atomic models which you have already studied in your smaller classes, that is Thomson's model of atom and Rutherford's model of atom. The different atomic models were proposed to explain the distribution of charged particles in an atom. First of all, let us study about Thomson's model of atom. J.J. Thomson proposed that an atom possesses a spherical shape of radius 10 raised to minus 10 meter, in which the positive charge is uniformly distributed and electrons are embedded in it. In this model, the mass of the atom is assumed to be uniformly distributed over the atom. Next, let us look into Rutherford's model of atom. In Rutherford's model, as you have studied, Rutherford actually conducted an experiment called alpha particle scattering experiment. According to it, he bombarded a thin gold foil with alpha particles. Stream of high energy alpha particles from a radioactive source was directed to the thin foil of gold metal. The thin gold foil had a circular fluorescent zinc sulfide screen around it, as you can see in the picture. Whenever alpha particles struck the screen, the tiny flash of light was produced at that point. So children, what were the results of the alpha scattering experiment? Most of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil undeflected. Yes or not? That is, you can see in the figure, here you can see almost all the arrows are going straight, isn't it? Only few are getting deflected, and a small fraction of alpha particles was deflected by small angles. That means only very few were deflected, and a very few alpha particles, 1 out of 10,000 or 20,000 only were bounced back. That is, they created an angle of 180 degree. Means 180 degree means what? They are moving, hitting at the point and coming back in the straight line, isn't it? That is called, but that is what we can say, that 180 degree it came back. With this, Rutherford explained his model of atom as the positive charge and most of the mass of an atom densely concentrated in extremely small region. Means the mass of an atom is mainly concentrated on concentrated in the middle of the atom, that is the nucleus. This very small portion of atom was called nucleus. Okay, the nucleus is surrounded by electrons that move around the nucleus with a very high speed in circular paths called orbits. So according to Rutherford, electrons were revolving around this small portion, that is our nucleus. And last, electrons and nucleus are held together by electrostatic forces of attraction. Electrostatic forces of attraction means the attraction between positive and negatively charged particles. Okay, that is how they are held together, because otherwise electrons may run away and go somewhere, isn't it? So this electrostatic force of attraction make the electrons to stay around the nucleus. Okay. Now, children, let's have a look into the drawbacks of Rutherford's model. It could not explain about the electronic structure of atoms. That is, how the electrons are distributed around the nucleus and what the energies of electrons. That's what the drawback of Rutherford. Rutherford's model also cannot explain the stability of atom. Why it could not explain the stability of atom? As we have already seen that according to Rutherford's model, electrons are revolving in a very high speed around the nucleus, correct? While revolving in high speed, what happens? Due to acceleration, they will radiate energy and finally they will fall into the nucleus, and the existence of atom is a question mark. So the existence of atom is absolutely not possible. If electrons are falling into the nucleus and perishing off, then how the atom will exist as it is, isn't it? So, and you know that every substance is made up of atoms. Okay. So these were some of the drawbacks of Rutherford's model. Now let us study about developments leading to Bohr's model of atom. So this topic onwards, children, you have to give more importance because according to the new syllabus, second chapter we start from developments of Bohr's model only. Developments leading to the Bohr's model of atom. Okay, according to Bohr's model of atom, or we can say, what were those two developments which actually led to Bohr to develop his model of atom? First of all, first one is the dual character of electromagnetic radiations, in which radiations possesses both wave and particle-like properties. Okay. So dual character means electromagnetic radiations possesses both the wave nature as well as particle nature. And next one is experimental results regarding atomic spectra, which can be explained only by assuming quantized electronic energy levels in atoms. Quantized energy levels means the energy levels in which electron is supposed to revolve. That stationary orbits or shells, we can say. According to James Maxwell stated that when electrically charged particles move under acceleration, alternating electrical and magnetic fields are produced and transmitted. These fields are transmitted in the forms of waves called electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic radiations. You can see in the figure waves of electromagnetic radiations which are actually perpendicular to each other. Before going into the details of electromagnetic radiations, let us have a look into what is a wave and what are the characteristics of wave. First of all, let us study about characteristics of waves. So as we have just now explained, an electromagnetic radiation composed of, we can say, waves in which electric as well as magnetic waves are there. These waves are perpendicular to each other. If one wave goes in this direction, then the another one will be moving in this direction. That is actually, we can say, they are perpendicular to each other. First of all, let us study some characteristics of waves. First one, we shall study about wavelength. Okay. Let's consider a wave. If this is a wave, okay, in which there are a wave composed of ups and downs, isn't it? In which the ups are called crust and downs are called troughs. And there is a distance between, if you consider from here to here, these are actually two crusts we can say, right? The distance from one crust to the other crust, this we call it as a wavelength, or it is represented as a lambda. What it is? Lambda. Okay, lambda. Okay, what is lambda? Lambda means a wavelength. What is wavelength? It is actually the distance from one crust to another crust, or you can also take from one crust to another crust. The distance between two consecutive troughs or two consecutive crusts, that distance we call it as wavelength. Okay, children? Did you understand what is wavelength? Wavelength means the distance between two consecutive crusts, or you can take two consecutive troughs. Okay. Next we have amplitude. In case of amplitude, if you consider a wave and in which a line passing through the center, okay, in which it's an imaginary line we can say, the extent to which how much that wave propagates from its mean position. Suppose this is the mean position, from which how much it goes upward or towards downward. The distance, children, that is the amplitude of wave means the distance travelled by a wave from its mean position. From the mean position, how much amount it goes upward or downward, that we call it as amplitudes of vibrations we can say. Okay, so what is amplitude? Amplitude means the distance from the mean position of the wave. Okay, mean position means midpoint. Okay, midpoint of the wave, from which how much it goes upward or downward. Okay, children, that's called amplitude of vibrations. Next we have frequency. Third one is frequency expressed in a nu. Students, listen here. If I'm taking some waves like this, one is this, and one is this. Okay, here you can see the wavelength of this one is more. This wave is more as compared to this one and as compared to this one. Correct? But if you look at the number of waves present in these waves, if you look at here, this has got more number of waves as compared to this one. So what you have to understand here is, when the wavelength decreases, the length of the wave decreases, the number of waves increases. Okay, so through a particular point, we are considering a particular point through which how many number of waves are passing in 1 second. Okay, so that we call it as frequency, or one or the other way we can say it is just opposite to wavelength. If wavelength increases, the frequency automatically decreases. Understood, children? Because if smaller the waves, see, this is very small as compared to this one, where number of waves 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. If you count, number of waves are more. If waves are more, why the waves are more? Because their wavelengths are small. If smaller the wavelength, more frequently we can see that waves are passing out, isn't it? So frequency is actually interconnected with the wavelength. So the number of waves passing through a particular point in 1 second, you can count in 1 second how many number of waves are passing through that particular point. That we call it as frequency. Understood? it is expressed in hertz. Hz. Hertz means 1 cycle per second. In 1 second, how many number of cycles, or we can say the oscillations or waves are passing through it? Okay, that is called hertz. Okay, so next we have fourth one, velocity. Velocity is expressed in c. Okay, remember children, in smaller classes you might have written velocity in terms of v. In chemistry we express velocity by using the symbol c. Okay, velocity we express by c. Okay, velocity of a wave means the linear distance. Linear distance means a straight line. The linear distance traveled by a wave in 1 second. That is called velocity. Okay children, what is velocity? Velocity is the linear distance traveled by a wave in 1 second. Okay, it is expressed, or its unit is meter per second. Last we have wave number, that is nu bar. Wave number means the number of waves can be accommodated in 1 centimeter length. In 1 centimeter length, how many number of waves can be accommodated? That we call it as a wave number or nu bar. Okay, nu is for a frequency we use, nu bar is used for a wave number, or you can also write wave number. Wave number is equal to 1 by lambda. What is 1 by lambda? 1 by lambda means 1 by wavelength, we can say. Wave number is equal to 1 by lambda. Okay. Now children, there is a relation between this wavelength, frequency and velocity. That is, wave velocity c is equal to lambda into nu, where wavelength into frequency is velocity. Okay, what is nu? Nu is frequency and lambda is wavelength. Okay, c is equal to lambda into nu, or you can write nu is equal to c by lambda. Okay, c by lambda you can also write it as c. Nu is equal to c into 1 by lambda. Here children, you know 1 by lambda is a wave number, or you can write nu bar. Okay, so you can substitute there, nu is equal to c into nu bar. So this is the relation between frequency and wave number. Okay children, this formula you need to learn all this. Why? Because at least one equation you learn, so you can do all this, so that you can do some numericals which comes related to it. That is, c is equal to nu lambda, or lambda into nu. Okay, that is velocity is equal to c is for velocity c is equal to lambda into nu. So students, let us have a quick recap of what we have learned so far. We have learned some characteristics of electromagnetic radiations. Electromagnetic radiations are characterized by the frequency and wavelength. The number of waves that pass a given point in 1 second is known as frequency, and the SI unit of frequency is hertz, or cycles per second, that is second inverse. In vacuum, all the electromagnetic radiations, regardless of wavelengths, travel at the same speed called speed of light, expressed as c. Okay, the frequency nu, wavelength lambda and velocity of light c are related by the equation c is equal to nu lambda, or we can say c is equal to nu into lambda. Finally, we have discussed about wave number nu bar. Wave number is defined as the number of wavelengths per unit length. Its units are reciprocal of wavelength, that is meter inverse. If meter is the unit of wavelength, wave number is the reciprocal of wavelength. Okay, that is meter inverse. So students, today we have learned some introductory part as well as the characteristics of wave. Learn these topics, and there are some simple questions which are related to this by using this formula. Some numericals are there that also you may try to practice in your notebook. Okay children, thank you and have a nice day.